Welcome to the Delgado podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Delgado podcast, your Friday afternoon spot for kick back, relax, and talk about just anything. I'm your host, Michael Delgado, and every week we dive into conversations that are real, unfiltered, and always a good time. Thanks for tuning in, and let's jump into today's episode. Today, we have Qurfew in the building. Is that your name, correct?
Hey, let's go.
What's
Yeah,
up,
my
man?
name's Qurfew. Qurfew with a Q.
Yep, I actually like that name. It sounds pretty cool. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. We're trying to stay out this Arizona heat.
Yeah, no kidding. It's extremely hot. Because you're from somewhere else, correct?
Yeah. I'm from LA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we
Okay.
drove. Me
Yeah.
and my team, my homies. You know, all the above. We drove 7 hours to come rock with AZ. You know.
Nice. I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully it's going fine for you.
Thank you, bro.
So Qurfew, tell us about it. How'd you come up with the name Qurfew?
Curfews, I would say would be like in high school. You know, I've always been like a good kid, but like probably about 10th grade, you know, when you start to like go out with your friends more and stuff like that. You know, I had a curfew, like I had to be home by like 10 o'clock on school days, and even on the weekends, like I had to make it home before like, you know, 10 or 11 o'clock. But, you know, when you're out with your friends, you're having a good time, you don't want to go back home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
You just gave me some context earlier. You just graduated from high school, so you can kind of relate to that. It's been a long time since I've been in high school, but during that time, you know, I'd be out with friends, even if it wasn't like nothing, we weren't doing nothing bad, but you're having a good time with friends when you're young. You're not thinking about time and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be home till like 12 or 1 in the morning. And my mom would be blowing up the phone. I would borrow my dad's phone when I'd be out, and my mom would blow my phone up, and I wouldn't even answer it because I didn't want to go back home. So, you know, when you're young, your friends make fun of you, like, "Ooh, you got a curfew," and I kind of flipped that on them, and because they would always say that, I kind of used that and used it as my name. So it kind of been like, "Oh, you want to say curfew? You know, you want to make fun of me? Or that's my name." But, you know, they didn't decide that. I decided that.
Yeah,
you know what I
no.
mean? So it wasn't like they called me that. I kind of just used that against that at the time, you know.
Yeah. Hey, I like it, dude. That's some pure creativity right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question is, when did you start writing bars?
I would say I was writing poetry and stuff like that by the time I was like 11, 12 years old. So it started out with like poetry, then got into more like rhyming, and then, you know, writing songs for like girls and stuff like that. And then, you know, I came from an era where you had to respect bars, so then you start trying to write bars. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I mean, I could get pretty in depth on that.
That was a great response. Okay, so next question is, who were the artists that shaped your sound?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say probably Nas, Tupac, Backstreet Boys. I would say a lot of cumbia music that my mom was playing, because my mom was Colombian. I would say a lot of 50s, 60s music that my dad was playing. My dad's white, so he would be playing like the Beach Boys, Bee Gees, a lot of Elvis. Because a lot of what, you know, by saying that, you know, my life isn't just rap. I'm also very melodic. So like I can appreciate a lot of genres of music. But if you just want to go straight hip hop, I would say Nas, Tupac, 50 Cent, Chameleonaire, Big Pun, and Zero from Texas. Those are like the ones that just, you know what I mean? That's probably like my top 5, top 6, you know, but we are, you know, I also, you know, I'm such a hip hop head. I got a top 10, top 20, top 50.
Thank you so much for that. The next question, what is your process when you're in the studio recording?
The process, so I'll go through beats, like, but I go through them fast. If I'm not feeling it in the first like 5 seconds, I go on to the next one. Even the beat can be fire 10 seconds in, but if I'm not feeling it from the first 5 seconds, I'm going on to the next one, then go on to the next one. But the first beat that hits me like, okay, this is dope, then I don't go to hear another beat. I'm stuck on that one, and then I usually will freestyle the hook. I'll be like, whatever comes to my mind, whatever I'm feeling at that moment, I'm freestyling it. Okay, this is gonna be the hook. Then I go and record it, and then I kind of perfect it. I change some lines here and there. But my verses, I like to sit down and actually write. I'm not, I mean, I don't really like to freestyle the verses because I want it to make sense. And my process is almost like a story from beginning to end. Whether whether it starts from right here to here, it has to be like a story. It has to make sense the whole way through. I don't want it to be like 4 bars about one thing and then I change it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm writing songs, now if I'm doing like some boom bap, braggadocious, just talking, I'll definitely just write whatever I want to write.
So, next question is there a specific song that means the most to you and why?
Songs in general or a song I wrote?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
That means a lot to me. Okay, let's go with songs that are not mine. I would probably say Growing Up, Tupac, Keep Your Head Up, and Nas, I Know I Can, only because that's when I fell in love with hip hop. You understand? I was born in 1990. So
okay.
So middle school is where I fell in love with hip hop. In 2002, I was in 6th grade, and I was obsessed. My first album that I purchased was Nas, God's Son, that came out in 2002. I was 12 years old. That whole album that had the single I Can. And if you're a hip hop head, I know you're young, but you probably have heard, I can be what I want to be. When you're 12 years old, that song is the most motivational song ever.
Yeah.
You're 12 years old, and you're like, I know I can. Be like, nobody can tell you what you can or you can't do at 12 years old listening to that song.
Yeah, that's cool because like when I was like a kid, because now I'm an adult as of a few weeks ago, but I feel like music is more impactful when you're younger than as you get older, in my opinion. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so next question: how do you feel when people hear your music?
Oh, it's a high for me. I actually like. I'm so how some people are like get self-conscious or they get anxiety when people hear the music. I'm the opposite. Like I can't wait for somebody to hear my shit. I always like to hear when people hear I like to see people's reaction. Like, I'm like watching to see what they're doing, what they don't like, what they do like. I like to like I mean. I'm a people person. I'm also like I like to study like people and how they react to things. Because to me music is emotional. So like I like to see what kind of emotions they get to certain songs. Like if I wanted somebody to feel sad or something with a song and they're not feeling sad, I'm like, dang, I didn't bring the right emotion to that. So now I got to go back into the board and write another song that's more heartfelt, emotional, that's gonna make it feel that way. And I can't say in my career that I have written songs that people were like, bro, it made me cry.
Okay, yeah, that's very That's great. I really appreciate that honesty right there. Okay, so next question. What is the biggest challenge you've faced in your career so far?
I think the biggest challenge is, dang, that's actually a very good question, bro. I do a lot of interviews, and that one just kind of got me stuck. So the hardest thing I think is trying to stay, even though I'm good at staying relevant, I think the game is always going to change. So you have to learn how to adapt, how to evolve, and then find your own niche and your own in whatever's happening. You can't complain. You can't be an old head. What happens when people get older in this rap game, they get stuck in their old ways. They get stuck in the past. You can't get stuck there. You gotta, if you don't evolve, then you're not meant for this game. And you're gonna have to be stuck in that old school mentality. And you can't do that in this game if you want to be something more than just underground. There's people that want to stay there, and that's okay. If that's what you love, that's where you feel comfortable, and that makes you happy in life. Not me. I don't get comfortable. I'm always going to reach for the heights. I'm always going to reach for something better. But that's just me. And what happens, like for your question, the hardest thing I think is trying to stay relevant in a game that changes more than any other genre. If you hear country, even though country does sound different now than before, it's still pretty much the same elements. You know what I'm saying? I think hip hop every 5 years, the music doesn't sound the same. Everything is different. So I think the hardest thing in this game is to adapt and being able to cross over and to be able to do this kind of music 5 years ago and then still be popping 5 years later with the music at that moment. And if you can do that consistently, and there's certain artists that can do that. Look at Drake. I'm a big Drake fan. A lot of people don't like him, but look at Drake. He's been killing it every summer since 2009, and I was 19. Think about it. Every year he's been able to adapt with the music. Just saying.
Yeah, no, hey, that's really great honesty right
Don't get mad because you don't like it because he makes songs for the girls and you think he's too soft. You know what I'm saying? He makes songs for the streets and for the ladies. Facts.
Hey, I appreciate the honesty, man. Okay, so 2 more questions left, and then we should be good for now. Next one is, if you could be open for any artist right now, who would it be and why?
Who could I open for? I would probably go for the Heights. I would probably say like either Drake or like a dope singer that kind of brings hip hop element, like a Post Malone. You know what I mean? Like stuff like I would go for like big, maybe even like Jelly Roll, just because he's a big boy.
Yeah.
From hip hop to more mainstream singing, because I feel like you know, a lot of his journey is the same as mine. You know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay, one more question, and then we should be good for tonight. So what is next for you? Is there any projects we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so last Friday, 2 days ago, I just dropped my album called Broken. It just dropped on the 5th. So that's, you make sure y'all check it out on all platforms. I also got physical copies. So if you need one shipped to you, you know, my Cash App is $Curfew, Curfew with a Qurfew. You feel me? Let's go.
Hey, that was nice. Hey, thank you so much for your time, Qurfew. That is a wrap for this week's episode of the Delgado podcast. Big thanks to him for joining me and sharing his story. And thank you for hanging out with us this Friday afternoon. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We'll be back next Friday with more real talk, good vibes, and everything between. Until then, I'm Michael Delgado. Stay safe, stay inspired, and I'll catch you next week.